Today, I was looking back on a lot of moments where I was struggling as a single mom with two kids. I remember having a full time job, not making that much money, barely enough money to pay rent, let alone utilities. And I also made too much to be on any type of like government assistance. They continuously denied me for SNAP, TANF, and Medicaid, even though I qualified for it. It was my first time living on my own and managing a house on my own. And those were some of the best times, but those are also some of the hardest times. I remember I used to pray and cry like, Lord, why is it so hard? Why can't things just flow? During those times, it taught me how to really get creative, how to get what I need, make what I need without having to rely on any help, even from like family or friends. How to budget, how to plan my meals, how to stock my freezer, how to stay organized, how to calculate certain things. If I hadn't been renting that place, I would have started a full garden back there. I wasn't sure if I was going to be living there long term. Also, the situation was extremely traumatizing because I just never knew, like, is this the month I'm going to have to move out? Am I going to have to leave? Is this the time where I'm not going to be able to afford my rent anymore and I'm going to have an eviction notice on my door? I never had an eviction notice or any type of like nothing filed against me. All praises to God for that. But it was constantly in the back of my mind, like at some point this could all just end. I never decorated my house for real because trauma. I didn't see the point of decorating. I didn't see the point of getting comfortable. I'm like, it just needs to be homey enough for us. But like any other types of decor, I'm not even going to waste my time. I loved those times, but I also hated those times. Now looking back on those times, years ago, I understand now that the Lord was preparing me for now. Because of what a lot of people are getting ready to experience in 2025 and beyond is what I was experiencing like 2-3 years ago. And I kind of know what to do. Yes, there's some things I'm still worried about, but for the most part, I'm prepared and equipped. It wasn't until today that I really thought about those times like, man, those were some of the most stressful times. And it was more so stressful because this was my first time ever doing this. Nobody ever showed me how to do this. This was a learning experience. I know now if I was put in that situation again, I wouldn't stress as much because I know. But I never thought I would look back on those times where I was so stressed out and crying and actually be grateful for it. Because those times showed me what I was made of. It showed me how to make something out of nothing, showed me how to make things happen. I believe that the Lord was using it to equip me for times later down the road. And I believe he's done that with a lot of people over the last couple years. Some people are like, why am I still struggling? Why is everything so hard? Why is everything this? Why is everything that? Not knowing that you were being equipped. Because there was going to come a time where a lot of other people were going to experience the same thing. And they were not going to know what to do because they've never lived through it. They've never experienced it before. They've never known what it felt like to have their healthcare stripped from them. They never known what it felt like to not be able to afford their healthcare. They never knew what it felt like to not have SNAP benefits. They never knew what it felt like to have to garden because you can't afford fresh produce. They never knew what it felt like to find holistic care and do things a non-traditional way to still maintain your health. They never knew how to budget or outsource or do any of the things that you had to learn to do involuntarily. So while everybody else is panicking, a part of you will have peace because this is not your first rodeo. During that time, I learned how to stock. I learned how to shop for what I need and leave things behind that I don't need. I learned to ration and weigh meals. I learned how to make meals and then freeze them. All of the dental schools when I couldn't afford dental insurance. Learned how to get my own labs when I didn't have health insurance or a doctor to go to and I needed to get something checked out, which actually was a lot cheaper than going to the doctor. I was fasting intensely during those times. I was praying a lot during those times. I was detoxing my body a lot during those times. So many things that I just look back on and I'm like, wow, I was literally being prepared for these times. And I also remember a lot of prophetic people I was around and knew during those times were going through the exact same thing. And they was crying and they like, I'm doing everything right. How is it that I'm in this predicament? The whole time it's because we were being equipped, because later down the line, things would be just as hard, if not harder. And going through those experiences equipped us with skills, knowledge, and information we were going to need to be able to survive those times that were going to be even harder and help other people who were not going to know what to do. So today really put things in perspective for me. So even though they continuously take things away, a lot of us will not cower. We will not feed into the spirit of fear and we will not be defeated because we are already equipped with everything we already need. And even for people who weren't struggling or who are struggling, let that be a word for you. Like, you already have everything you need inside of you. You may not know it right now until you use it. You may not understand it. You may not see it at this very moment, but at some point you're going to be like, wow, I was already equipped.